The Yankees just keep on doing it. The wins keep on piling up, and now they have a 6-game winning streak, which is tied for a season-long streak. They, I believe, are, in the last 39 games, 28-11. They've won 11 of their last 12 series. Most importantly, though, they just swept the Red Sox. The Yankees have passed the Boston Red Sox, which is just crazy to think about the amount of time it took for that to happen. The Yankees were back, about a month ago. I don't know the specific numbers on this, but 9.5 games, maybe 10, like something in that range. And they made it all up, and they still look. There is a lot of season to go here. The Yankees record currently sits at 69-52. So, you're looking at about 40 or so games left in the season, a quarter of the season to go. But like the vibes are as good as they've been all season. And think about all the different contributing factors. This is a team, whether it be through injury, through COVID, just trades, a lot of different players, new players that are making an impact. That's what happens in a long baseball season is you have new heroes every night. Let's just reel it off right here. Andrew Velasquez didn't even really know that he was even part of the organization until he got called up. I think I may have seen it at one point, but Andrew Velasquez, Luis Gil, Andrew Heaney. Yes, Andrew Heaney was a positive factor in this series. Wandy Peralta. Wandy Peralta acquired in a trade for Mike Tauchman. Like moves that you don't even really know or think much of. Of course, there's Jonathan Loaisiga, Anthony Rizzo in a, more, of course, well-known trade. But I could go on and on and on. They are getting contributions up and down the roster. And that's the key. The depth is showing out. Definitely. And there's so many players that are on the shelf as well. So many guys that, you don't even necessarily think about anymore. And for good reason. Like the Clint Frazier's of the world, the Miguel Andújar's, players that at one point were certainly in the lineup game in and game out. But of course, still injured is Gio Urshela, Gleyber Torres, Domingo Germán, Corey Kluber, Luis Severino. And this is not about, it's more about, it's not even so much next man up. The point is there's just a lot of depth throughout the roster that's really come into play here. Sure, a lot of the core pieces are improving, but again, that pitching has just been rock solid. And yeah, I never would have thought that it would have gotten this good, and expect a downturn at some point, right? That's just how it goes in a baseball season, but you hope that the lows aren't that low, and the highs have certainly been high. So in terms of this week, the Yankees had a single game against the Angels. This was a makeup game, what was supposed to be a 4-game series when the Yankees were at their worst. Right around that time. And the last game was when Aroldis Chapman blew that save. He gave up a grand slam to Jared Walsh. And that was not good by any means. But this matchup would be Garrett Cole returning. And I'm not going to go too much into this Angel game. And it's pretty simple. But Garrett Cole would be on the mound for the Yankees. And first game back. And I wondered why he didn't pitch against the Red Sox. It all worked out. It all fully worked out. Cole was great. Cole ended up going 5 2/3, gave up 2 hits. A solo homer was the one run he gave up in the first to Justin Upton, and he had 9 strikeouts. So, 1 walk possibly. It was either no walks or 1 walk. But, yeah, Cole was absolutely dominant, which is great to see. Obviously, his last outing against Tampa before he went down, not a good one, but not surprised to see Cole pitch well. And hopefully he continues that. And the only scoring of the game was in the first inning. Justin Upton solo homer, and then in the bottom of the first, Joey Gallo. 2-run homer. And again, that's what Joey Gallo does. It's homers, it's strikeouts, and it's walks. It's pretty much his game. And Gallo, hits a 2-run shot there. Who actually got the last out in the 6th in a 2-1 game was Zach Britton. Zach Britton. This is a positive Zach Britton episode. He is turning things around maybe slowly. So Britton would get the final out of the 6th. The 7th and 8th would be a combination of mostly Albert Abreu. Albert Abreu, again, he has been, I've been singing his praises. He has really been phenomenal. and I think is moving up in that pecking order in the pen. That's another guy, right, to the list that I was talking about before. Albert Abreu has been really good. And then Joely Rodriguez, forgotten about in the Joey Gallo trade. Joely Rodriguez has, served a good purpose. He strikes out Shohei Ohtani in the 8th. And then the 9th, nervous time, but Chad Green. And this is a positive Chad Green episode. Chad Green, I felt like he got a couple of calls, a couple of favorable strike calls in the Gosselin last step out of the game, but we'll take it. And he gets the save. So great pitching performance. Offense did not get the job done that night, but the key there against the Angels, being in between those key White Sox and Red Sox series, just win the game. And that's exactly what they did. So let's jump into this Red Sox series. So doubleheader. And that's never easy. 7-inning doubleheader. And the matchups would be Tanner Houck, who has done well against the Yankees, against Jordan Montgomery making his return. That would be game 1. Keep in mind as well, there were definitely some roster moves, and we'll kind of go through that chronologically. The ones that come to mind, at least, Gary Sanchez returns, replacing Rob Brantley. As well, you had Garrett Cole. You had Garrett Cole and Jordan Montgomery return, and that took the spot of Steven Ridings. And I guess I'm drawing a blank on who the other, because there's been a lot of moves. When Cole got recalled, I don't know if that was for Ridings or if the Montgomery one. Either way, not a big deal. But basically, the Yankees are getting a lot of players back, which is key. In this one, the Yankees would jump out to an early lead. Second inning, you got a hit by pitch one out hit by pitch Luke Voit, and that's another person that we'll talk about. There are so many different players to discuss, Luke Voit being one of them. Hit by pitch, Rougned Odor singles, and what's been good about Odor lately is he has been hitting the ball the other way quite a bit, intentionally, and it's been working. So that makes it first and second. Then Gary Sanchez lines out, but then Tyler Wade gets a single. That's another guy, Tyler Wade, where the Wade Velasquez shortstop production and for Torres has been magnificent. And Wade gets a single there, but unfortunately Voit doesn't score. Keeps the bases loaded, and in my opinion, one of the players of this series, Andrew Velasquez, gets a big 2-run single. 2-out, 2-run single. Gives the Yanks a 2-0 lead, and they score off Houck. But Montgomery, who I felt in this game, I didn't love Montgomery in this game. I got to be honest, and I know that he was just coming back from COVID. Tough spot. I get all of that. But didn't love Montgomery's, but he gave him a chance to win. 1-out single to Bobby Dahlbeck. Walks Kike Hernandez, which you can't do in that spot. Renfroe grounds out softly, gets the runners over. Second and third, 2 out. Xander Bogaerts, who has great numbers off of Montgomery. 0-2 pitch right down the middle. 2-run single. Just, you cannot do that. And that ties it up at 2. We move to the top of the 5th, where Christian Vasquez homers. Vasquez, and again, 7-inning game. Vasquez homers makes it 3-2 Boston. So in that top of the 5th, Montgomery would not make it through the 5th. Albert Abreu does the job and gets Hunter Renfroe to end the 5th. Bottom of the 5th. So Houck only goes 4 innings, which I guess was kind of surprising. I mean, I think a Boston fan would have a better read on that. But Garrett Whitlock came in, the former Yankee farmhand, would strike out LeMahieu to start the inning, but then the trouble would mount. Brett Gardner draws a walk, then Aaron Judge walks. And because of the Yankees' new lineup, where you have a bunch of lefty, you don't know how to attack them as much, Whitlock comes out of the game, and they bring in the lefty Josh Taylor. Now, if, let's say Joey Gallo wasn't on this team, let's just say, maybe this inning turns out differently. But Joey Gallo would draw a walk against Taylor, which was big. Taylor's really good against lefties. Then, bases loaded, 1 out, Luke Voit. And what I loved about this was first pitch swinging. In sac fly situations, go for it on the first pitch. He did, and he's able to dunk it past Kike Hernandez. Good effort. 2 runs would score. That gives the Yankees a 4-3 lead. Then, remember, 3-batter minimum. The next batter, it would be Rougned Odor, but Giancarlo Stanton was on the bench in this one. So who comes in pinch hits? Giancarlo Stanton. Against the lefty Taylor, and on a 3-0, he's swinging, and I was all for that. Swings, gets an RBI single. Big RBI single for Giancarlo Stanton. Gives the Yanks a 5-3 lead. In the top of the 6th, it would be Jonathan Loaisiga. So the rest of this game is basically the Loaisiga show. 6th inning, he faces the meat of the order. Bogaerts, Devers, Martinez. And what was interesting was, in the bottom of the sixth, the Yankees mounted a little bit of a rally, but because they didn't score, Loaiza came back out for the last inning, which made sense. He'd only thrown 8 pitches. It would have been a luxury if they somehow blew it open, but that's not what the Yankees normally do. And you know what? The Sunday game showed that it almost came back to bite, where Voit hits that 2-run homer against the White Sox, then they bring Licky in. It ends up working out. But this last inning was drama-filled and edge-of-your-seat type of stuff. Kyle Schwarber gets a lucky infield hit to start it out. Then Christian Velasquez gets a single to right. First and second, no out. Then you would have Alex Verdugo singling as well. I wouldn't say Loaiza was hit hard. I mean, Vasquez was a good one. Vasquez was hit well. The other two, nothing crazy. But now you have bases loaded, no out. 2-run game. Huge game. First game of this really big Red Sox series. But Loaiza he's the guy you want out there. I mean, you can say whatever you want, but Jonathan Loaiza, out of all the guys in the bullpen, he is the one you want in the game in that situation. And wow, what a tightrope. I mean, I can't believe he got out of it the way he did. Travis Shaw would be up, and Travis Shaw, it would be a full count base with no out, and Shaw would line out to left. Hit pretty well, but lines out to left, no advance at all. 5-3, bases loaded, 1 out for Kike Hernandez. And Hernandez, who, if you remember, when they last played in Boston, had a very big double off of Loaiza in that, really bad Sunday loss where Domingo Germán had that no-hitter and Loaiza completely imploded. In this situation, Kike Hernandez is up 3-0 in the count. Remember, bases loaded. The tough part of the lineup coming up. And Loaiza fights back and strikes out Hernandez. That was just incredible. And then Hunter Renfroe, bases loaded, like I said, 2 out, 5-3, and Loaiza would strike out Renfroe. An amazing job, in that situation, getting those 3 outs with the game on the line. And Loaiza, again, he's not afraid of the moment. Not only does he have great stuff, but he's not afraid of the big spot. That's what I like about him. And I really think that, and we'll talk about this when we discuss, I guess, more so the last game, but he needs to be considered. I like his usage where they use him in the key situations, but even if that means the 9th inning, even if that big spot's the 9th inning, go with Loaiza. So now we head to the nightcap. I was actually in attendance for this one. And yeah, it was a very enjoyable game. Atmosphere was definitely ramped up, just considering the fact the Yankees had won earlier in the day. It would be former Yankee Nate Eovaldi, Nate the Great, versus Luis Gil. And Luis Gil has yet to give up an earned run in his young major league career. I believe it's about 15 innings, still nothing. Gil has been really good, and I think his stuff plays. The walks were a bit of a problem this one, and that was what kind of bit him in the minor leagues. So that reared its ugly head, but he wasn't hit hard at all. Unfortunately, he didn't get the win, which in a 7-inning game, if you go 4 2/3, that should be a win, in my opinion. Again, not a big deal, but so Luis Gil, who would be designated as the 27th man for doubleheaders, you get an extra roster spot, and he would be sent down after. I'm sure we will see him again soon. Gil. Not a whole lot to speak of in this one. A lot of missed opportunities. The Red Sox were 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position, and the Yankees were 0 for 9. So that says it all right there. A lot of missed opportunities all the way around. What was key here was Luke Voit, 2nd inning, solo shot. And Luke Voit had comments after the game saying, and I don't blame him for feeling this way. I don't think that he should play over Anthony Rizzo, but he's saying, he deserves to play as much as Anthony Rizzo. He's a competitive guy, Luke Voit. And I know a lot of teams would be happy to have him. And I think he will play a role as a DH. I definitely think that certainly versus lefties, you might see Giancarlo Stanton move to the outfield, Judge go to center, and Voit at DH. So it might be tough for him to get, you don't want to get sporadic at bats. You really want to get into a flow. So he's going to be put in a tough spot. But again, this is just the nature of what it is. Anthony Rizzo is just a better all-around player. There's no doubt about that. But Voit, a really big home run to give the Yankees 1-0 lead. And then the other scoring in this game was in the bottom of the 4th, an absolute moonshot bomb home run for Giancarlo Stanton. Gives the Yankees 2-0 lead. In the 5th, this is where the Wandy Peralta factor comes in. Peralta, who who pitched really well in that White Sox series, and got the save in the last game, comes in with the bases loaded, 2 outs against Rafael Devers, and he gets the ground out. I mean, that's a huge situation right there. Again, 7-inning game, so you're down to, that's in a 9-inning game. That's like the 7th inning. And Peralta gets the job done. Not only that, but he starts the next inning, which I was cool with. Totally in agreement with that. It'd be a 1-out single to Kyle Schwarber. Then with 2 out, Hunter Renfroe would single as a pinch hitter. Hunter Renfroe would come in the game against the lefty Peralta, which makes sense, and made it first and third, 2 out. Then Bobby Dahlback pinch hit for Travis Shaw. And this was really the at-bat of the game. This was working the count. Peralta was kind of cruising through earlier in the inning, and then Renfroe put on a great at-bat to get that single, then Dahlback did as well. The end result is he lines one back to Peralta. And it kind of ricochets to his right. Really tough play. He picks it up, fires it, and they get him. Like a great play by Wandy Peralta. He honestly threw that ball harder than I think his normal pitches. He's not really the hardest thrower. Kind of pitches to contact. That was an accurate throw with a ton of zip. And to me, when I think about that game, in a lot of ways, that was the Devers groundout was huge as well. But just that was an amazing moment. And Peralta comes through, and then in the last inning, it would be Chad Green back-to-back nights for saves. 1, 2, 3 inning. When do we ever see that? We didn't see it in the last game. I'll tell you that right now. Sneak preview. You don't see it in the last game, but you definitely saw it in game 2. Kike Hernandez pops out, Verdugo strikes out, and Bogaerts grounds out. And that's ball game. Yanks win 2-0. So as it is right there, the Yankees at that moment in time tie the Red Sox, but are technically ahead by percentage points. So that third and final game, Anthony Rizzo activated, Aroldis Chapman activated. Sent down would be Nick Nelson and Jonathan Davis. So Jonathan Davis goes down. And look, he just didn't do enough. And I think you're covered. With Stan being able to play the outfield, with Wade having that flexibility, Jonathan Davis isn't exactly, I don't think he's needed. Certainly. And my guy would have been Greg Allen anyway, but that's here nor there. With Andrew Heaney on the mound for the last game, it's like you had to win the doubleheader. You had to win both, knowing that, what was going to be impending. And he got absolutely crushed in the Field of Dreams game. And to that point, he'd given up 8 home runs in his first 3 starts as Yankee. Potent Red Sox lineup, which wasn't that potent in this series, but Andrew Heaney, give him credit, pitched an absolutely great game. He went 7 innings, gave up 2 hits and 1 run. And what was amazing is that he was at about 98, 99 pitches through 6 innings, and he pitched the 7th and pitched a 1, 2, 3. So, I think the thought process with Heaney is the good thing. He definitely isn't afraid to throw pitches. They're not afraid to throw him out there. I think part of that, too, is, look, he's not a long-term commodity on this team. He's going to be a free agent. I don't think they mind if they burn him out a bit. It just makes sense. And Heaney was pitching well anyway. So, props to Andrew Heaney. Where will it go from here? Who knows? But he certainly earned himself another start. But just adding to the list of contributing players that have just been lately tremendous. The Yankees would go up against Nick Pivetta. And it was not a good outing for Nick Pivetta. But the Red Sox would be the ones that score first. First inning. Andrew Heaney gives up another home run. So I'm thinking already, here we go again. First inning, Xander Bogaerts on an 0-2 pitch. And it wasn't like a meatball. If you remember, I was upset with Heaney in the Field of Dreams games, first inning, same situation. 2 out, Jose Abreu. The Abreu pitch, that he kind of hung that. This one, it was outside. Bogaerts is a great hitter, but still, you don't like to see it. It went pretty way out, considering that it was an opposite field home run. And that would be the 9th home run that Heaney's allowed as a Yankee. Just unfathomable. But in the second inning is when the Yankees would do most of their damage. It would be a leadoff single for Giancarlo Stanton, who had a good series. Stanton lately, it's been pretty good. Then Rudin Odor would walk. Then Gary Sanchez would dunk a single in. Bases loaded, no out. Brett Gardner sac fly. So that would tie it up at 1. And then Andrew Velasquez. Andrew Velasquez gets an RBI single. Makes it 2-1. He would steal second during DJ LeMahieu's at-bat. Unfortunately, LeMahieu would ground out. But no fear, Anthony Rizzo returns and gets a big two-run single. It's a play that Bobby Dahlback would probably want to have back, or maybe look, they called it a single, not an error, but that was really important and made it 4-1. And Pivetta was knocked out of the game in the second inning. And the Red Sox pitching would shut it down. Garrett Richards pitched really well for a while, and the Yankees really wouldn't get much going. And like I said, 7 innings of work for Andrew Heaney. And who pitches the 8th? Zach Britton. So Britton, who, like I said, in that Angel game, got that 1 out to end the inning. This was as good as Zach Britton has looked in a long time, in a very long time. Verdugo strikes out, Dahlback grounds out, Velasquez grounds out. 1, 2, 3, simple, easy. And if Britton can be anything like that, that would be huge for this bullpen. We head to the bottom of the 8th, and they bring on the lefty Josh Taylor. And with 1 out, Gary Sanchez doubles to right. So a couple of hits for Sanchez to the opposite field, which is good to see. Then after a Brett Gardner ground out, which gets Sanchez over to third, Andrew Velasquez does it again. RBI single. Like, after what he did in the first game of the series and what he did earlier in the game, he gets another single, and he's been doing great defensively, and we'll talk about what he does in the next inning. But that would be key to make it 5-1. In comes Aroldis Chapman. And here's the problem. And you know, I put Britton in a similar light, but with Chapman, you just don't know what you're going to get night in, night out. You just don't. And I hate the fact it's going to come back to bite them that he is the strictly 9th inning guy. They need to loosen that up. I'm telling you. That is, I'm envisioning if the Yankees, whatever it might be, end of the regular season, playoffs, whatever it might be, Chapman being the 9th inning guy, that is a risky scenario, especially when you do have some other options, namely Jonathan Loaisiga. But I just, you can't do that. The Tampa approach is, and not everyone can be like Tampa, but the Tampa Bay Rays, there is no roles. It's situational. It's situational with Loaisiga. It's situational with Chad Green. With Zach Britton, now I think it might be situational after his struggles, but with Aroldis Chapman, even though he got demoted, about a month ago or whatever it was, he always pitches the 9th inning, and I think that's you can't be scared of Chapman, and it kind of feels like this organization fears him a bit. But anyway, saying all of that, it was his first outing back, so I'm not surprised that he was rusty, but still, it's a little bit of an excuse, a little bit of an unfair excuse too. So he does get Kike Hernandez to strike at the start of the inning, but you could tell the fastball was not there from the jump. And then Hunter Renfroe hits a 450-foot bomb home run. Makes it 5-2. Then he walks Xander Bogaerts, and you just, in that situation, up by 3 runs, you don't want to be walking players. So he walks Bogaerts, and then Devers grounds out. Really nice play by Anthony Rizzo. That was a really pretty good play. I don't know, if a worser first baseman makes that play, but he does, and so that gets the second out. Then JD Martinez singles. And that's it for all the Chapman. So Chapman's done, which I'm fine with, but who comes in? Lucas Licky. And I'm not so high on him lately, especially in these big spots. And it would be a long at-bat against Kevin Plawecki, who was the tying run. He got ahead of him, but then it was foul after foul after foul, till eventually Plawecki grounds out, and Odor, who's at third base, dives for it, can't get it. In the hole is Andrew Velasquez. Velasquez makes a kind of a diving stab at it, makes the play, then fires to first, and Rizzo makes a really nice scoop. They would review it, but he would be out. Just an amazing cap, a cap off of the night for Andrew Velasquez, and Rizzo too. I mean, Rizzo as well with a big 2-run single, really good defensive plays, coming back seamlessly. But Velasquez is really the story of this game. That's a great play. That's a play that, I got to be honest with you, Gleyber Torres, I don't think they're getting that out there. I'm just saying that. I don't think that they are. But sweep of the Red Sox, it's incredible. The Yankees are now alone in the first wildcard spot, a game ahead of Oakland and Boston. That is just mind-boggling. And that series next week, I guess it'll start about a week from now. 4 games set at Oakland is going to be absolutely major in terms of where things, head in the standings. So I am very much looking forward to that series. But for the here and now, the homestand continues against a Twins team that seems like they've actually been playing with a little bit of fight lately. it's a team that the Yankees usually always beat, even when the Twins are good. And the pitching matchups are favorable to the Yanks. Again, 4-game set. John Gant, the former Cardinal, versus Jamison Tyone, who's been very good. Game 2 is lefty Charlie Barnes against Nestor Cortez. Game 3 is Kenta Maeda against Garrett Cole. So that is, I guess, your brand name pitching matchup, if there is one. And then the last one is Griffin Jax versus Jordan Montgomery. I mean, definite edge to the Yankees when you look at these pitching matchups, but wouldn't be surprised if there's just a little bit of a hangover effect. I've said that, I guess, at other points, and baseball is different than other sports where that probably isn't as prevalent, right? But they've had a lot of big games and big series, and so for me here, 4-game series, take 3 out of 4. Take 3 out of 4. I will be upset if it's anything less than that, just because of how we've done against the Twins. It's at home, but 3 out of 4 would be absolutely fine with that. You can't ask. I mean, 4-game sweep is just so much to ask. It's a lot to ask. So yeah, let's see how this homestand continues. The Yankees are up to 69-52. Just incredible stuff. Let the good times roll. And let's enjoy the sweep against the Red Sox. I mean, I've been hard on them for not being able to get the sweeps in the big spot, and man, did they get it in this situation. So let's see where it goes. But as we're heading down the home stretch here, it's been fun times watching this team.